Okay, Mr. Clerk, roll call.
Mr. Slota is absent. Mr. Simonis?
Here.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Mr. Hulbert?
Here.
Mr. Warden?
Here. Okay, communications.
I have one concerning 638 Dimmick Hill Road is applying for a liquor license, and they are asking if the board could waive the 30-day notice. I just emailed a copy of this to you guys about a half an hour ago. However you want to proceed with that, and that's all I have.
Okay. We're going to move on to open forum. Guests shall speak in an orderly fashion or limited remarks of 5 minutes or less. The speaker shall deliver their comments and concerns in a civil tone and without the use of profanity, personal attacks, or other disruptive behavior, which may result in the offender's removal from the meeting. The speaker shall not be interrupted except for a matter of urgency. Before we get started with that, I just want to let everybody know our bathrooms are out of service. We have a line that's backed up, so we're not going to be able to. We just found out when we came in tonight. So, sorry. But anybody like to speak tonight, please come up to the microphones. One of them.
Question, if something on the agenda tonight that we'd like to speak on, do we wait till that point, or this is when you speak on?
This is when the public speaks.
Anything on the docket?
This is when you have 5 minutes to speak to the board or speak to the public,
Okay.
right, during this time, during this open forum.
My name is Don Husband. I live on Ransom Road, town of Shenango. I'm speaking upon the Children's Home of Wyoming Conference project that is looking to go up on our road. I've got a number of key points. I'll just start going through them. First of all, the parking compliance, the zoning requires 16 spaces. The proposal provides 10. No parking demand study has been submitted. No overflow or shift change plan documented. The proposal does not meet required parking standards, and no data has been submitted to demonstrate that a reduction is the minimum necessary relief. Traffic impact. No professional traffic impact study has been submitted. Daily trip count, peak hour volumes, staff shift clustering, and emergency transport frequency are undocumented. A traffic impact analysis has not been provided to demonstrate compatibility with the surrounding residential road network. Building scale, proposed 900 to 9,400 square feet, exceeds typical residential one home size and contains multiple institutional use rooms. The building's gross square footage and internal program exceed what is typical for an 8-bedroom residential dwelling in this district. Variance standards, relief from zoning requirements is requested. Documentation does not clearly establish hardship or demonstrate that the request represents the minimum necessary relief. Variance criteria require demonstration of hardship and the least deviation from zoning standards necessary to achieve a reasonable use. Stormwater management, stormwater pollution prevention plan, SWPPP, status not finalized. Land disturbance thresholds and post-development runoff impacts are not fully documented. Final stormwater mitigation design should be completed before approval to allow proper environmental compatibility review. Septic system capacity. No finalized septic engineering design has been presented. Projected daily wastewater flow from a 24/7 staffed facility may exceed typical single-family design assumptions. Soil suitability and required drain field sizing not documented. Has projected daily wastewater flow been calculated, and what septic tank and leach field size is required under county and state health standards? Groundwater and well impact area relies on neighboring properties have experienced dry wells, aquifer capacity, seasonal groundwater level, and well separation distances have not been publicly documented. Has groundwater capacity, seasonal water table depth, and required well setbacks have been evaluated prior to approval of on-site wastewater systems? Zoning integrity and precedent. Approval within residential 1 may establish precedent for institutional scale operations in low-density districts. Approval should consider long-term zoning consistency and district intent preservation. Long-term implications. Area would be unlikely to repurpose the proposed structure as an R1 single-family unit if operations cease at this location. A comprehensive long-term disposition plan must be established for the parcel and its buildings should the group home operations cease. The plan should require either restoration of the site to its original single-family R1 condition or removal of the structure to prevent a large vacant building from becoming a blight within the R1 district on Ransom Road, where suitable alternative uses are limited. The well capacity assessment. The Delta Engineering feasibility study indicates the existing well delivers 7 to 8 gallons per minute. This flow rate is low to be adequate for a typical 3 to 4 bedroom residence. Will a new well be drilled? Is a groundwater aquifer test required? Power outage concerns. Ransom Road experiences frequent power outages ranging from a few minutes to several hours. Disruption to building systems, HVAC, lighting, security, fire alarm, medical equipment. Possible public safety risk if critical services are unavailable for long periods. What backup power solutions, generator, UPS, are planned for the building?
You have 30 seconds.
Is backup power solution compliant with New York State climate rules or require a variance? Is a risk assessment being performed to quantify long-term public safety implications? Parking variance. The Delta Engineering feasibility study indicates that code requires 16 parking spaces. However, a variance to reduce that to 10 is being sought. Regulatory context, 594 regulations suggest the following for 8 or more beds.
Your time is up.
Okay.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak tonight?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
My name's Lucas Awad. I also live on Ransom Road. Just wanted to discuss the proposed building. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the community, but it's a lot of space up there. People bought their property to have land and room up there. And it's already been encroached on by the solar farm at the top of our hill. It's unsafe now to just walk our animals up and down the hill. You have the solar farm workers speeding constantly. So what's gonna happen when you're trying to build this building here? It's a large structure. It'd be the largest structure on the hill by far, and it would be seen by virtually every property owner. And I've checked, and this will impact our property values, and I believe that would expose the county to some exposure. Additionally, like Don said, we have frequent power outages on the hill already. What is this type of drain gonna do? And I'm also wondering why you wanna put this in a residential area when Broome County has so many vacant properties. That seems extremely irresponsible. You know, there's so many programs to revitalize the community, but you wanna encroach on taxpayers and proud Americans. And that's all I gotta say.
Okay, thank you.
Tom Stolt. I live on Ransom Road also. Staff turnover creates additional temporary parking needs. Handicap accessible spot required by ADA. Group home service van and routine visitor parking. Professional staff, therapists, care managers, etc., requiring daily access. Delivery vehicles for supplies and maintenance. Emergency services access needs clear staging, areas and adequate surrounding parking. Has an on-site traffic and parking study been performed to demonstrate that 10 spaces can safely accommodate all users? The reduced parking count appears inadequate, giving staffing, accessibility, service vehicle, visitor, delivery, and emergency response requirements outlined in the 594 regulations. Approving a project of this institutional scale is an R1 district could set precedent for future non-residential developments and encroach on intended low density character of the zone. Why was an R1 zone selected for facility of size and function? Setback requirements, front, size, or side, rear. Septic loading, preliminary estimates indicate 1,000 gallons a day. Does this trigger the need for a New York State DEC state pollution discharge elimination? Variance attachment, does the approved variance bind only the current provider, personal, or does it run with the land and remain in effect and the property is sold, run with the land? Okay. Clarify whether the variance is recorded as a perpetual encumbrance of parcel or as a conditional approval tied to a specific operating entity. If the group home ceases operations temporarily, closure or permanent shutdown, will the parcel automatically revert to the standard R1 regulations? An 8-bedroom group home does not conform to the typical single-family dwelling for R1 zoning. If the variance is not surrendered, the property cannot be converted back to standard residential home without additional approvals. What mechanisms, demolition, removal, or delicensing are stipulated to ensure the site can be returned to use permissible under the baseline R1 code? Is the variance language drafted to run with the land and bind any future owners, or is it limited to named operator? Will a sunset clause be incorporated that obligates the owner to either maintain group home operation or restore the parcel to R1 compliant use within set period? What demolition or decommissioning requirements, site clearance standards, waste disposal, landscape restoration will be imposed if the facility is discontinued? Are there any conditions that allow the variance to be revoked if the property is sold to a party that does not intend to operate group home? Without explicit language, a granted variance could create a lasting precedent permitting institutional scale uses a zone intended for low density single family residence. As well-defined sunset demolition
You have 30 seconds.
provision safeguards zone integrity and protects neighboring properties from unintended permanent changes to land and use intensity.
Thank you.
also a resident on Ransom Road. I just wanted to see if the town, I'd like to note that, has the town done a study about emergency services? Our road in the winter is terrible for driving up and down. It's a very steep hill. The plows have to come right before the school bus comes. With a group home, there could be a need for an emergency medical issue there. Is the town gonna be plowing on a more frequent basis to make sure that the home can have the services that they need during seasonal times when our road is really quite treacherous to drive on? Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak?
Good evening, my name is Jason Rosenberger, I live on Ransom Road, kind of the top of the hill. And I have to agree with what everybody has brought up here tonight. My biggest concern is the safety factor. Having worked in a law enforcement perspective and investigative background, what kind of young people are we dealing with here? Okay, and my question is also, what kind of staff, how are they trained? Are these military, are they police officers, ex-police officers? What kind of background do they have to be able to handle a situation should it present itself? So, what if, something happens and these kids escape? Now we have them all up on the road, running around, people aren't gonna feel safe. A lot of these residents have young children that they're raising. So, and when I drive the countryside, I look at all the correctional facilities. Most of them are located out in like a cornfield or something like that. Why are we putting this in a residential area? That's a question I have.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? Okay, we're gonna move on with the meeting. Thank you for your comments. We move on to old business. 5.1 wastewater treatment plant updates. I don't believe we have any.
Nope.
We just keep that on there until the duration of the project. But nothing, unless we need to do something later, Nate?
I'm not sure if you want to have a executive session with the board about anything. Give them an update on the conversation we
No,
had.
we had a couple Zoom meetings.
Right.
Okay, we can talk about that later. All right, 5.2, salt shed discussion. Darren, do you want to? Everybody read the information that was presented there? Questions for Darren?
There was an option 2, Darren. The fund balance amount was different than the amount that was in for option 3. So was it a highway fund balance that you were pulling that from, or was it just
General
It was-
fund balance.
it was general?
Yep, the
Oh.
difference between option 2 and option 3, you had the ARPA funds in there. For the 56, that makes the difference. That's where the difference is for the bottom one. The option 3 is just truly fund balance.
No, understood. I just wanted clarity on where, because there wasn't a line item, which I know there isn't, but it wasn't marked general or highway, so I want to make sure that it was coming from the appropriate fund balance.
Yeah, it would be general, 'cause
Okay.
it's buildings and grounds.
Was there a time limit on the ARPA funds anyways? Because they had to be spent before a certain amount of time anyways, right? I'm just wondering if we're at that.
This is the figure that I looked in the budget, or the financials that was left over from all that stuff. I
Right.
believe it is all the
It's-
interest that was earned.
It's interest that was made off the ARPA money.
Oh, it's the interest.
It's what's left, we spent the ARPA money, this is the interest that was made off the ARPA money during the time that we had the ARPA money,
Okay,
but we need to spend this, the rest of that.
Okay.
Dwayne says we need to, so we can close that all out.
Kevin, is there, do you know the amount that's in the fund balance with that, from that interest? Or does this use all of it?
The 56, that was the total amount that was,
The ARPA funds was 56,138. That's all that's left,
yes,
and that's all from the interest.
that's just
For-
interest from ARPA money.
Okay.
It's actually in the fund balance, in the savings account, but it's,
Got it.
it's, yeah, allocated as interest from ARPA, or ARPA money.
Okay.
So what are you looking, Darren? You want us to, if we're gonna do this as soon as possible, you looking for, get going tonight, or,
As quick as we can. Because as soon as I get the letter from the grant, which should be coming shortly, they said sometime in March, we'll have a certain time period on that to make sure that the engineering firm has it all engineered and everything, and then award the bid, or go to bid and then award it. There's a certain timetable, and I don't remember exactly that from the date they give us that.
So
So
Dave,
the sooner the better.
Dave, to clarify, Darren's asking that you approve an engineering firm tonight. He asked that at the last meeting. So there's a resolution that's prepared. It's not attached to the agenda right now because it had been on the agenda the last time, and I don't believe you had a firm recommendation as to which firm you wanted when we talked last. But
No, but I talked with Alex on it, and Alex gave me some notes on what
if
I
the,
wanna discuss with you guys about it too.
if the board is inclined to approve an engineering firm tonight, I do have a resolution that I can tweak with the name and send it over to Adam, so he's got it, even though it's not, so he's got it and can put it in the minutes, if that's what you want to do.
well, I thought at our last meeting, I'm in favor of the project, but I thought maybe there was a little bit of undeciding whether or not it was a project that we were going to do. That's why I brought it up earlier. Reading your background information, I see we're gonna be doing this sooner or later, and always later to me is more expensive. So I'm for pushing ahead with this project. I guess we just have to decide if we all feel that way, and I guess I'll leave it at that.
Darren, do you have a preferred method for funding this out of your options here?
My preferred one, honestly, and I just talking with it over here, was trying, because the salt project is, this is gonna be such an expensive cost, and the reimbursement's $560. I'm just wondering, leaning more towards maybe we can bond it and then pay it off when we get the $560 back, we pay that off, okay? And then at that point, we use the ARPA funds also, if that's okay with the board, because we got, like you said, we gotta try to use it up. And then if we have either fund balance, or we look into capital improvement, money to pay the rest off, or we just pay the rest of the bond over a certain period of time. I'm not sure what the penalty, if any, on a bond would be, but, that's option.
So we would probably do a short-term bond anticipation note for the financing of the construction, unless you chose to utilize your fund balance to front the money. I would think a bond anticipation note, and then, those are yearly. So a year from, or that could be shorter, but typically it's a year. So a year from whenever the money's borrowed, you'd have the ability to roll it over again into another short-term ban, do long-term bonding, pay the whole thing off, choose which pots of money you want to use to pay the bond off at that point. But I do think if it's a reimbursement program, you're fronting all the money. And so it's really short-term, where do you find all the money to do the project? And that's where I think Darren's saying, do a bond.
It's option 4 on my list, because it was the last thing I thought of after I put this together. And then the more I thought about it, looking at the long-range project, because we're gonna have to foot it all, because like you said, it's a reimbursement, so it'd probably be easier to do that end.
Right, so in doing that, in this spreadsheet, you don't have any calculations in there for the interest cost of this. And even on a short-term bond, if we took the high-end number here, we'd be talking about, at the end, if we use the ARPA funds and the grant funds, we'd still have, on the high end, 300,000, almost 300,000.
So we just did a bond, which is funding tomorrow.
Yes.
The interest rate on that ended up being, was it 3.4 or 3.8?
3.48
or something?
3.486
Call it
or
3.5.
something. Yeah, 3.
And this would be about almost 3 times as much money as that. So I would think the rate would be about the same, maybe better. But so $1 million over a year, you're gonna pay 35,000 in interest, plus, potentially, I mean, there will be closing costs on the bond, which can be included in the bond, but still, you're looking at 35 to 40 grand in interest.
Nate, was that, because that was over the lifetime?
Over the first year.
First
of the
year.
The
bond.
first year,
First
so
year.
that's annually. So even if I took a third of that, and depending on what the term of that bond here would be, we could be looking at anywhere from another 30 to 50,000 on top of this number.
Probably, yeah, at least.
Right, and plus closing costs.
Right.
I don't see a need to do the bonding conversation until after we get the design done and put it out for bid and get numbers back. It doesn't take a long time to do the bonding, and we can float that with fund balance in the meantime. I don't have any issue with option 2, using the ARPA and the fund balance. We're gonna need the project, so I support doing it. The $300,000 bust is something that is just, we've gotta put controls in place so these things don't come up again, and we don't get surprised with them, because the fund balance is not gonna be a safety net that we can really ever plan on going to. So we've gotta get a better control practice in place for coming up with these projects and these project dollars.
I think in this particular case too, for how this came about, I think having the engineering firm on board would probably be, I'm expecting them to be able to define the scope a lot better, so we'd know exactly where we're gonna be. I know these numbers here have the high and the low, but again, I think engineering will prove that out for us too, because in looking at this, I can surmise what's under each of these definitions here, like what's included in the site work. I realize what the structure is, but the site work is a little unknown to me right now to have to meet all these requirements. I don't know if that number is good or bad.
And I don't know if the engineering number is good or bad. That we've got.
But I think too, but having the engineering firm on board to be able to work that out, I'd feel a lot more comfortable with some of those numbers.
Where did the numbers come from for the engineering?
Those engineering numbers came from the quotes that we got from the 4 that we reached out to. So that the low end number is the lowest engineering firm. The other one is the middle of the line guy, and the other one, or middle towards the top guy. The other two were really close at that high end. Those are the firm figures that I had and that you guys received a while ago when we first got them back.
We did have those.
So those are their figures.
What were the numbers for the engineering based on as far as a scope and an RFP? Was that,
Based on what the grant was written for. The way the grant, we gave them the grant, we gave them the structure, we gave them everything, and they wrote it off of that. All their design, their quote came off of all that.
so in their numbers, are they going to provide a construction cost estimate?
I don't remember seeing that.
Right
Gene.
now, no, there's nothing in there.
I don't see that.
I did reach out, and I actually spoke to one of them that said they could and would be willing to put that in there if we so went with them.
Did you de-scope all four? So high to the low
Yeah,
is,
the one,
is included, everybody has everything they need to be included?
the one said no, they weren't doing it at all, so we were down to 3.
Okay.
The other 3 have it all, pretty much. The only thing that, the lowest one does not have, they don't have in there for geotech, which the other ones put in, I think, 9,000 for that roughly. They do not have that on the low end one, at the lowest $36,000 quote. I also had only one, which, again, I'm not holding this by any means, one that met the 10 o'clock deadline.
They were all received the same
They
day?
were all received the same day, though.
And we've got a letter that from Alex that reviewed them, and with a recommendation on which one, or a letter from you, you said you had given one, where is that letter, where is that?
I have my email from Alex, the discussion. I don't know if it ever made it to you guys.
I didn't see that.
I didn't receive it.
He has a recommendation?
I don't remember him actually recommending anybody. He reviewed everybody and kind of listed out the differences between their proposals that he thought merited understanding. I will look for that and, I guess, forward it to you guys.
Yeah, and the one, he did say that reasonings for doing one or not the other ones in previous times for accepting bids. They showed up late, we just basically threw them out and took the one that came in. Again, I'm not gonna do that, but
I need a recommendation from you, Alex, somebody, what engineering firm to go with.
well, my opinion is, and that's why I didn't go there, because I didn't know we were gonna, this was step 2 of the, making sure we were gonna move forward.
Okay.
That was step 2. So step 2 was me tonight, was giving you my referral of going with Hunt Engineering for this project, because it meets everything that I feel sets the table for us moving forward, and it gives us the best of the stuff to get it done.
Okay.
And they fulfilled all the, from A to Z for me on everything that we need, looking at it.
I just forwarded Alex's email to you guys.
Thank you. What's the board want to do? Do you want to put it on the next agenda, review this, or do you want to pick one tonight or go with the recommendation?
I'd prefer to do the resolution at the next meeting for the award of the engineering, but I'd like to see that into a package for the resolution with a recommendation for award.
Yes.
That the 3 bids.
I would too. I would like to
Put it
see
all
everything.
together.
I'd like to see Alex.
I'll be upfront. I was not expecting a resolution tonight for the engineering firm. So that's just from my end. I apologize, just so you guys know. I was not anticipating that. I was anticipating hopefully accepting and moving forward with the figures that we have, with my referral for you to get everything else ready for the next meeting for the engineering firm.
Okay, so we will add it to the next meeting.
I just want to clear that, just so you guys are aware.
The other thing I could think of, Gene, I know you were thinking maybe we do a bond resolution later. I know doing a bond resolution doesn't cost very much money. It just gives you authority to bond for it if you choose to finance the project in that fashion. But you need the bonding authority in place in order to reimburse yourself for all of the costs. So I think we can hire the engineer right now. If we start paying them before we have the bonding authority in place, you can't reimburse yourself for their design costs out of the bond proceeds. You'd have to like bifurcate their total contract amount, is my recollection. So I can get,
Well, I was just bringing it up because if we don't have to bond for the X number of dollars of the engineering, and we've got $80,000 or $80,000 coming from fund balance or ARPA, that's just a line item transfer. So we don't even have to worry about that bonding cost.
okay.
Is
Yeah,
it-
I just wanted to make it clear, like, we might not be able to use the bond monies if you go that route to reimburse
Because we-
for the design
Right,
costs.
we'd start that prematurely.
Right. And that's okay. As Gene's pointing out, you've got a source to pay it, but I
Got a
wanted
source
to
income
highlight
for
that.
it.
So,
I'm-
but the point you're making is that when it goes to the bond council and it goes, if this is gonna be under $1 million, so is this something that you're gonna do in your office?
Honestly, I think having bond counsel and using municipal solutions to do it all is the way to get the best rates. You know, using what we just
That-
did for the
that-
truck.
But that's okay, but that number is, just won't include the engineering costs.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Everybody good with that?
Yeah, I'm good for you to move forward with that, Darren.
Move forward. We'll get a packet together, we'll put it on the agenda for the next.
Yeah, I'll get all that and work with Nate this, either tomorrow or early next week.
Okay,
Thank you.
sounds good. All right, moving along, 5.3, cybersecurity discussion. Apparently, if you looked at the emails, we spent some time on this back in December. I thought we couldn't find a resolution that we did anything with it. I don't know why, I can't.
Okay.
I don't know if we just put it off like we were gonna start at a later date. That's kind of what I remember. But what's everybody's take on it?
So I saw a 6-month and a 18-month term, but I didn't see a annual term unless we just keep renewing it on the 6-month term, because to go 18 months, it looks like it's a $20 savings. Right, because the premium on the short term is 6 months for 2,500, or 18 months for 7,480.
Yeah, I had that, hold on. Why did I have 5,000?
I think because you took the two, just the renewal over the course of the budget
Oh,
period,
okay.
and that's why we put in that 5,
Okay.
right? So I think that was probably the approach. It looks like all he's trying to do, for some reason, is I think he was trying to line up some expirations with other
Honest-
policies as well, right? Because he made that statement in the letter that we have other policies that expire July 1st.
And I think then now that's what I remember why we held off, is that we were gonna try to line it up with our policies.
Right, and it looks like that's what he was trying to do with the 6-month term.
Okay, that makes sense now. So do you wanna do a 6-month to July and then?
Well, it's
Or-
obviously, I would expect this to be prorated. You know, we're already into March. He has this from January 1st.
Yeah,
I honestly didn't.
where we are now is a different place than December,
Yes.
and I would like to get this aligned up for the July
You
1.
want it lined
Just
up
do
for
it-
July? I agree.
Right, you're just so close to it now, yeah.
It's, last 2
And-
weeks have been crazy. I haven't had a chance to even talk to him or anything, so.
So can we push through a resolution pending that it's prorated?
Well, I
Or we
think,
have to have him confirm that?
no, I think just to line it up on July 1st, Luke, probably makes the most sense. And because if we have other policies that are annual expire on the same time, he can go from July 1st to July 1st.
Yeah, and for the
Yeah.
next board, he can get us the quote for the number that's gonna be around the $5,000.
Okay, so just hold off till the next meeting and then,
Yeah, have him do the quote
Okay.
from 7/1 to 7/1. Yep.
Look, we
Or
don't have the
6:30.
coverage now.
Right.
So the exposure that we have today is the same exposure we're gonna have up through June 30th. And I'm fine with that risk until then.
Yep.
That's my opinion.
Okay, that's fine. I will reach out and we will get a quote to start 7/1. Our policies are July. Do you know that, Greg? Or insurance policies? They're July. Okay. Well, I'll reach out. We'll figure that out.
Okay.
We'll work on that and we'll get that figured out. All right, moving on. 5.4 wastewater treatment plant change orders. I don't know why that was on there, but I thought we took care of that.
Leaves it there as a placeholder, just in case there is one.
Okay, nothing on that. 5.5, planning board vacancy applicants. Did everybody see that? And Jay will speak on that.
So, Planning Board Chairman Brian Donnelly, Jody Carey, and I interviewed 3 applicants. And I just want to thank them for applying. We've just had some great responses for people willing to participate in our town. All 3 had unique abilities and skill sets, and we decided on candidate number 3 because of her background. And we just think she would be a really nice complement to the board. So it is our recommendation to select applicant number 3.
What's her name?
Amanda Bixby.
Do we know, I'll have to find out from Jody if that's a full term or how much was left
No,
on
it's-
Thomas's term.
It expires 12/31/26.
So
It expires at
this
the end,
year.
yes. So all 3 candidates did commit to the planning board schedule, and they committed to the training required.
Okay. I'm good with
So-
your recommendation. How's the rest of the board?
I'm fine.
I don't have any issue with that. Was there ever a discussion, as far as, alternates with that?
We did. I don't believe we did have.
Like
that-
alternate, what do you mean by alternate?
Just because every time we talk about the planning board and the alternate, it's a part-time alternate member, and I don't know if anybody here would do that alternate position full-time.
I guess I'm not following. There is an alternate on the planning board currently.
Right, but isn't that coverage only part-time?
Yes.
So,
This is,
and this is for the alternate, this is for a board position?
this is a full-time board position to fulfill the recent resignation that only takes this through 12/31 of this year.
Understood. But when we've done the planning board reviews in the or interviews in the past, that was just a question that we've asked all the alternates to see, or I'm sorry, all of the interviewees, if they would be interested in the alternate position.
Understood. I did not ask that question.
Okay.
But certainly we'll be in contact with the other 2 applicants, certainly qualified. And we can ask that question as well.
Okay.
You know, just even as a follow-up, because we are going to notify them.
Yeah, no, and the background on that is just to make sure that the board functions wholly. And in the past, we just haven't had the pool of people
Yeah.
to do that.
Yep.
And if it's there, just think that we should be considering that.
I think it's a great idea, yeah. And we've been really, really fortunate to get a pool from the community that are willing to participate, it's been great.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to appoint Amanda Bixby, applicant number 3, to the planning board to fulfill unexpired term that expires on 12/31/26.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
I have no more.
I'm
No.
done.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Slota?
Aye.
Mr. Smonis?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Hulbert?
Aye.
Mr. Warden?
Aye. So I believe we'll probably have to do a resolution next meeting for that.
It'll be a resolution acknowledging the appointment by motion at this meeting.
Okay.
We've done that a few times now.
Yep. Thank you, Jay. All right, moving on, 5.6, secure vestibule.
Unless Alex didn't, if he didn't supply anything, then there's nothing to add.
Okay. I think he was working on some drawings and went back to the engineering firm. I saw some drawings that were going around. Okay. That's where we're at on that, so we don't have any information to bring up to the board. All right, moving on.
But
Oh,
just,
go ahead.
we were supposed to have that from him for this meeting, right? Because I had it on my notes that it was gonna be
I
done.
just keep putting it on for every agenda, so I'm hoping someday that we'll have something. Do you want it on next agenda?
Yeah, yes, and, because I remember the conversation that it was kicked down the road too many times, and it had to be done, from my point of view anyway.
He was trying to meet with the engineer the Friday after the meeting. That got canceled because he had COVID prior to. So like that Friday after our last meeting, I thought he was meeting with them. And then where that went, obviously, we don't know.
Okay,
I will communicate with him, try to get something on the next agenda.
Yeah, and I'll just share, Gene, that there's been movement on it, and I have some preliminary sketches, so yeah, I have a lot of questions, so I do want to keep it on to the next meeting as well, please.
Okay. We have no public hearings for this meeting. We're going to be moving on to new business. 7.1, building condition study, grant writing, contract discussion.
This is a continuation of last week.
Yes.
If you so choose, we can use the writer to look for grants for the issues that we have around the building, the town, and the garage, and so on and so forth.
There's
we-
a resolution later on in the agenda for it.
There's a resolution for it, and I do have the contract, right? Or not? If we
Their
approve,
proposal.
it's included too. I thought I had it in my paper. Okay. Anybody have any questions for Greg?
I have none.
none.
None?
You should have received the final draft.
I
I
did.
sent
did.
that to everybody, just as an FYI.
Okay. All right, moving on. 7.2, water bill refund discussion. This is Greg again. I know he brought it to everybody's attention.
This is a resident of 15 Trafford asking for a reduction on his water and sewer bill due to a broken pipe. You'll see the email that was sent from him. I included his current water bill and his previous water bills to show his, how much he normally uses. And there's also recognition from myself as what I think is a fair water bill.
And he has never claimed this before? This
No.
was just, okay. Any discussion on this?
Out of curiosity, Greg, how long was this pipe broken? Or is this the one where he wasn't
He wasn't home.
home?
He wasn't home.
I think it's fair, and I'll follow your recommendation.
I agree.
I will too.
Do you want to do
I
a motion
will
to?
too, but Greg, how do you track this? Because part of the policy for the review on this is that it's a one-time,
We note it on
Acknowledgement?
we note it in their account,
okay?
under our program, Waterworks program. So
Okay.
it'll be noted in there.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Nope. I just wanted to know what the mechanics were in place on your end of it.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you want to do a motion approving the refund of the bill and then a resolution acknowledging your motion tonight, or just wait until the next meeting to do a resolution?
I'd rather wait.
Is that fine, Greg, to wait till the next meeting?
I don't believe the bill's been paid anyways.
Okay.
I have to generate a new bill.
I think we'll do a resolution next meeting.
Okay.
Do you want the bill that I create for the resolution?
Yes.
Okay.
No, we're just gonna do a resolution. Yep. All right, moving on. 8.1, those department reports. 8.1 ordinance report. Did everybody see the ordinance report?
I did.
Yes.
I don't believe Diane's here. No questions.
I have no questions on it.
None.
I have none.
None.
Okay. 8.2 dog control report. Take a look at that.
I have no questions.
All right.
None.
I have none.
Good with
None.
that? Good with it? All right. 8.3 DPW report.
You'll see just a brief update on what's been going on in the Water and Sewer and Parks Department. Also, we did interviews, Darren, HR, and myself, on 2 laborers for the Public Works Department. You'll also see a recommendation in there to allow me to offer to both applicant 1 and applicant 2 for the vacancies in the Public Works Department. There's also a recommendation to, I do have a vacancy for the head groundskeeper as well. I did post it on the signboard out front. I'm asking if we can approve it to go on to Indeed to find quality applicants for that position as well.
Okay.
Greg, can you remind me how we got into the head groundkeeper thing? I thought that was a position that we got away from.
No, it's currently come vacant. The employee transferred, so we still have that title.
Okay. Okay.
Craig, are these the only 2 applicants you received?
Yes.
What's the process here, you know, during the interview process? Is there a background check on any of this, or, you know, what?
We'll review it after. If you give me the approvals, we'll review it. That goes to Broome County. Broome County does a check on it, if they're qualified or not.
Oh, so you haven't had them vetted through
You-
civil service yet?
Yes, they've already been vetted through Broome County.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, what do you mean that?
So to the extent, and maybe this is where you're going, but we have to make an offer of employment first. They accept it, but then it's conditioned on them passing like a background check.
Yes, okay.
We can't do background checks first.
Yes. Okay.
The documentation from the interview process, the questions and the things that you covered, where is that? That's part.
I didn't provide it. We haven't in the past provided it. I can forward it on if you'd like, but I did not provide it, no.
Okay. It is part of what the town board needs to get along with the applicants to understand what you asked and what the responses were, you know, for the employment record.
Okay.
What would the board wish to do?
Is there a probation period here, or a training period of some sort that you go through? Because, I mean, I don't have any issue with the applicants, they just have 0 experience in what you're putting them into.
In the resolution of making the appointment, you know, we will specify that they will serve a probationary term of not less than, I think it's 8 weeks and not more than 52 weeks. So you have a year to keep them probationary.
I thought it's pretty standard with civil service that we do it
Yeah.
a year.
Yeah, and they recommend.
Is that what it is, a year?
That's what we've been doing. That's what we do most of the town employees, but this is union, Teamsters.
Yeah, they're
So it's
still
still a year?
They're still subject to a year.
Up to
Okay.
it, yeah.
So your ask is for the town board to give you permission to send the offer letters?
Yes, sir. Well, HR to send the offer.
And that's acknowledged. I don't have any issue with that.
I don't either.
Nor do I.
Yeah, I would think you would need a motion for that. So you want to send the offer letters, and then we can go through the background checks and all that stuff?
Correct.
And then before we ever do a resolution to hire?
Yes, they'll have to go down and get background checked and drug tested.
Drug
all
test and
that
everything. Okay.
beforehand.
I don't have a problem with that.
I make a motion that we extend the offer letters to the 2 applicants that Greg has noted to us.
Do we have to include their names?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just identify them by name, that's okay.
Hold on a second.
No, applicant 1
Is-
oh, you've got it open?
I got it open. Applicant 1.
You want me to do?
Grant Gannon.
Applicant 1,
Grant Gannon,
Grant Gannon.
And
applicant number 2,
Caleb Wiggins.
Applicant number 2, Caleb Wiggins.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion?
None.
I have none.
I have none.
Did we cite what the position was for that we're doing? It's for laborer?
It is both of them.
These are
of them,
both laborers.
Both laborers. But it may not have been included in the motion.
I guess you want to extend the offer for labor position in the Teamsters Union at $18.30 rate an hour.
Correct.
I think that's what you'd want to put in there.
Sure.
So moved. At $18.30.
Mr. Slota?
Aye.
Mr. Simonis?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Hulbert?
Aye.
Mr. Warden?
Aye. All right.
Thank you, Greg.
Thanks for
Thank you.
doing that.
As far as the head groundskeeper
Oh, yeah.
and
Wha-
the Indeed,
What would the board like to do on that? Would the board like to?
I'm okay with that. You, for 2 weeks?
And then do we put the $1,000 allotment on it?
Yeah.
That we have been?
We're doing our, doing our best on that. So you want to Indeed ad for $1,000 for
Yes.
2 weeks?
yes, please.
What? Yeah? Did you pay it? No, then that's, it hasn't been. It's been a nightmare. We're gonna work, but so you want it, let's
Soon as
do the
possible.
Indeed. You want the Indeed ad for $1,000. What do you want time frame?
2 weeks,
So when you want to end this on?
Starting when?
as soon as we can pay for it.
Okay.
So,
So you want to start tomorrow on the 5th and go to the 19th?
yes, please.
3/19 is gonna put you right after the next meeting?
That's fine.
Is that fine? And that gives you time to
Yep.
review the stuff? Okay. Does anybody, I can make a motion for that, to put an ad in Indeed, not to exceed $1,000 to run from 3/5 to 3/19 for the heads groundskeeper's position in DPW.
I can second that.
Any discussion?
I have none.
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 Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Slota?
Aye.
Mr. Simonis?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Hulbert?
Aye.
Mr. Warden?
Aye. Okay. 8.4 Attorney's Report.
Well, it's there. Any questions?
It's there.
If none, then I do have one item for an executive session to discuss matters relating to the employment of a individual with the town. It's an update regarding a matter that we recently retained outside counsel for. It's good news.
Relating to your report, the residential facility issue, what's the update for that?
That is contained in the supervisor's report also, and it's what the individuals were here speaking during public comment about earlier. Just reviewing the letter, the attachment, and confirming that it's very similar / identical to the issues raised the last time a community residential facility was proposed within the town, that you folks as the town board can schedule a public hearing on this. You have 3 options as a decision to make. You can either voice no objection, offer alternative sites located within the town of Shenango that you think are more suitable for this location, or for this facility rather, or object to the placement of this community residential facility at that location because of an over-concentration of community residential facilities within the town in that specific geographic area. Those are the 3 options, unfortunately. Many of the comments from the individuals tonight, I think, focused on zoning issues, planning issues. Unfortunately, the state has preempted the town's ability to regulate these, and the options I mentioned earlier are the only ones that you have. You can't condition the state and this agency's placement in any fashion. So it won't go to site plan review, it won't see special permits, there will be no variances. If the state chooses to move forward with this, they will move forward.
And Nate, that's being done under which state law?
It's the mental hygiene law, 41-.34.
And that's the one that severely limits our options.
Correct.
We also have a time constraint to do this.
You have 40 days from receiving the correspondence notifying you that this facility is being proposed. The letter, I think, was received at the end of February.
There was communications before then, but the official letter came in. I attached it to my report. That was the official letter that came in. I just want to make it crystal clear that we did not pick this site. This has nothing to do with the town picking the site for this facility. This facility was presented to me that it is going to go there. So-
Correct.
And I sent the individual to the ordinance office for discussion because there's a lot of zoning issues with that.
Yep.
And this is where it's ended up, as you can see with the mental hygiene law.
Right. The last facility that was proposed, you folks, I think, did schedule a public hearing. I think you referred it to the planning board, if my recollection is correct. There is a planning board meeting coming up this coming Monday, in anticipation of you potentially asking the planning board to review this. The code office placed, at my recommendation, this packet of information on their agenda as informational right now. And if you folks, so they have it, and if you want to formally refer it to them, you know, they'll be ready to review it and give you a recommendation. And then if you want to hold a public hearing, 40 days from February 25th is April something. Let's see, 1, 2,
4th or 5th, Nate, depending on that when.
3, 4, 5.
April 4th,
April.
which is a Saturday, but
Yeah, so the time would arguably be extended to April 6th. So you have a meeting today, the 18th and the 1st.
in the 1st.
So if you want to schedule a public hearing, you could do it on the 18th
What-
or the 1st.
What would be the value of referring it to planning?
Getting some additional community input through the planning board. You know, they might review and give you some input as to whether there's too many community residential facilities in the town in that geographic area. Maybe, you know, it's another source of information about possible alternative sites. These are things that you could all, of course, do yourselves. And I'm not sure that the planning board really has enough time between now and Monday to really explore this, but doesn't mean you can't refer it to them anyway.
I don't have any issue with referring it to the planning board and doing the public hearing on the 1st.
I agree.
I mean, I don't have a problem with that either. I think my approach here is to, you know, I don't want to run out of time. I do have alternative sites to offer that I think are far more suitable.
When does the alternative sites, or
Yeah,
when
when-
does that stuff have to be presented to them?
Within the 40-day period. So if you hold the
That's what I
public hearing on the 1st, consider whatever available alternative sites. We pass a resolution saying we're offering alternative sites within the town at that meeting, and then the next day, we got to shoot it out.
Okay.
But what does that do to our 40-day timeline? Is that an automatic extension? Is that a request for an extension?
No, so
Or do they
they're-
still say no on April 6th?
Yeah, so
And-
the process is, we have 40 days to make our move, which is one of those three options. Once we make our move, which it sounds like potentially proposing alternative sites, then the onus is on them. They review, in this case, the alternative sites proposed and make a determination whether the alternative sites are satisfactory under their criteria for their needs and wants. If they determine that our proposed alternative sites are not satisfactory, they send us a letter, and then you have 15 days to respond to that follow-up from them, which is tight for you guys, but you know, you meet every 2 weeks, so that's okay. And then you'd have the option at that point to identify additional alternative sites or other grounds to object to it based on the over concentration of community residential facilities.
I'm curious if you know, when they get these alternative sites, you know, can they just arbitrarily say no?
No, you know, they have to use their criteria as to nearness of other, you know, like stores, places of worship, schools, parks, all the things that go into their decision to cite these locations, but, you know, it's opaque to me as to exactly what their criteria are. You know, you could file an Article 78 against the state to challenge their decision as arbitrary and capricious regarding alternative sites. Like, that to me is the most immediate way to do that. You know, if they do determine an alternative site is feasible or, you know, equivalent, then statutorily they're obligated to try and acquire the alternative location for the facility. Which, if I think, if one of the sites you're thinking of would be very easy for them.
Yes, very easy. And the other one is easy as well.
Right.
So I actually, you know, Nate and I spoke about 2 alternative sites that we think are far more suitable. It is unfortunate that we really don't have a lot of authority when it comes to situations like this. The state has made it very restrictive for us, and part of their mission is to integrate some of these group homes into neighborhoods on purpose. So, you know, whatever we come up with isn't going to be popular in that neighborhood for sure. But I do believe that the Ransom Road site that I'm very, very familiar with is really not suitable. It's not, for all the reasons that you all spoke of, and thank you for coming out tonight. I agree with you 1,000%, and I know that I'm gonna be very active in finding them alternative sites that, you know, potentially are less invasive to the neighborhood. Like, again, they want them in a neighborhood, so I don't want to pick sites that necessarily they're going to say no because it doesn't fit our criteria. But appreciate everyone coming out and making your comments tonight, and I just want to let you know that you certainly were heard.
And Jay, I will say, regarding the prior application for one of these facilities, the, you know, withdrew their proposal from the town. I don't know what prompted that.
That was the other facility, that was a different, that was a group home.
Yeah, that was gonna be a group home off of River Road, I think. But that applicant withdrew. I don't know why. It's possible members of the public contacted them. Who knows? But something prompted them.
My sense is, though, in this particular situation, they're not going to withdraw. I just,
We don't know.
just because of their, you know, they have other presence in the town. And that's why I think those 2 other sites that you and I had previously discussed are far more suitable. And one of them's really, really easy. So, you know, it'd be interesting to see what their objection would be to either.
Right.
All right.
So I want to hear what you guys have come up with eventually.
Yes.
So, but in the meantime, I'd like to go through all the steps that we can, so I don't have a problem deferring it to the planning board. And whatever we have to do, as long as we.
So just a
Yep.
motion to refer this project's proposal to the planning board for recommendation. And then we have time to, you know, at the 18th meeting, you can pass a resolution scheduling a public hearing on the matter for April 1st. Otherwise, do by motion tonight, schedule the public hearing for April 1st. Either's fine by me. Just, I know you want to do things by resolution.
Do by resolution.
So you want to do by resolution on the 18th for the public hearing? I think that's proper.
Yeah.
Proper way to do it, but should we make a motion tonight to have the planning board review?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, but you're saying public hearing on the 18th?
No,
Gene-
to
No,
do
no.
the resolution to schedule the public hearing.
Okay.
On the 18th for the public hearing on April 1st.
All one motion, Nate?
No,
No,
we
'cause-
don't do, we'll just do the resolution next week
Okay.
for the public hearing.
We're just doing.
But we have to do the resolution tonight to move it to the
To
planning
refer
board,
it.
so
Yeah.
that they,
Do the motion tonight to refer it to the planning board
For review.
for referral.
I'll make the motion to refer the Children's Home Ransom Road residential project to the planning board for review.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
I have none.
When is their meeting?
Monday?
Monday.
Tuesday?
Okay. Nope. That's all I wanted to know.
Okay.
And then, Jay, it'd probably be helpful since you know what alternative sites, I don't know if you want to write a memo to the town board and we can pull property records, things like that.
I will. That's a great idea.
Can work on that.
And if any other town board members want to take a stab at identifying some alternative sites for the town board to discuss, please feel free, right? Like, takes a village sometimes, and you might know of a really good location.
And I'm going to ask the planning board to do the same.
Right.
Okay. Any other discussion? We're good? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Slota?
Aye.
Mr. Simonis?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Hulbert?
Aye.
Mr. Warden?
Aye. All right, any other questions for Nate?
No, just when we're putting that together, just make sure like the agenda topics, have got everything that we want to talk about for the 18th. That's all.
Okay, so now we are going to move on to supervisor's report, which we won't have to handle that part of it on my supervisor's report. Thank you for taking care of that. But we're going to start out with, if everybody read the supervisor's report, with the wastewater treatment plant EDUs for the 2026 rolls. Catherine's been on me we need to make sure that these are correct. She has to do the tentative rolls by April 1st. She actually has to do them by April 15th, but she would like the information to her by April 1st so she can enter it all into the system if there's changes. And actually so she can go through and make sure that the changes are made correctly. They have to be on the tentative rolls to be on the final rolls July 1st. Right now, they're not on the rolls. We put them on the rolls last year to get so we could collect the EDUs last year for the project, but we need to put them, make sure that they're correct. Let me rephrase that. They are on the rolls, but we have to make sure that they're correct, because there is some issues.
What's the process for accuracy?
That's my question to the board. How do you want to do this? That's my question to the board. How do you?
So Kevin, I think where it goes is the town code specifies how EDUs are assessed.
Correct.
So it's not how, it's whom do you want to review the current assessment roll, which assesses EDUs to every property within the sewer district. Do you want, so previously Greg's team did the legwork on that in connection or conjunction with some information pulled out of the GIS for road frontage. So they reviewed every commercial property and the road frontage information and calculated the EDUs based on that. I think we're fairly comfortable that the residential EDUs, unless somebody's combined properties or subdivided properties, which Catherine will have information about, so we can flag all those and update road frontage for those.
Why wouldn't it be the assessor?
Because
to do this?
I don't believe that she would have, someone has to go to certain places, correct? I mean, that's what you did before.
For the commercial, for example.
We're not talking
a
to
laundromat.
residential.
Only one.
She's not too concerned. She basically, she can go through the residential and see, like if there was a combined property, she can take care of that. If there was a grievance on it or whatever, or not a grievance, but a assessment review and there was a change in assessment, she can take care of that. If there was a new place built, the information is going to come from the ordinance office up to her to do that. It's the commercials that we have an issue with, just like the one we're having an issue with now. And she keeps presenting ones to me that are their EDUs for the sewer project are not matching the EDUs for their compost that have been collected all along, which can't happen. How can you have a different EDU for your compost than you are for it's the same EDU no matter what per the town code.
Yeah, it's
Greg, how many parcels are we talking about? How many commercial parcels?
200 something, 250?
Couple hundred,
Yeah, it's a couple hundred commercial parcels. It's not, and there's a lot of them that are not gonna be, you're not gonna have to report it.
As long as I'm provided, like the laundromat I've already changed on my spreadsheet. If somebody can provide me with what needs to be changed, it can easily change them. If I'm getting either from ordinance or from the assessor, they have to provide me with either parcels that combine so we can remove one, so on and so forth.
That's what I need to adjust.
But is that what she's really asking, or is she asking a complete audit of the 200
To
parcels?
audit it, sounds like.
I'm not sure she's asking for a complete
She's not
audit.
asking for a
Well,
clean,
I guess
she's just asking.
If nobody knows what we're being asked, I don't know what answer
So,
to give.
no, what the board needs to do is decide who is gonna be responsible for getting this done.
I think it needs to be the assessor as the point person, and if there's a problem or a question, she coordinate that, or that the assessor coordinate it with Greg and with ordinance. And if you gotta go out and you gotta check
How
something,
did,
you
how
do
is
that.
she identifying troubled properties?
So the issue is if like a commercial property changes the use, or a vacant property changes, becomes commercial. So
So-
Taco Bell, 7 Brew.
Okay, but,
Those did not exist 2 years ago. Now they've been built.
okay, so those are the ones that would be identified for audit.
Yeah, we need to flag
But who's gonna
all of
identify
those.
those?
But-
This is where there's a lack of,
Well, I'm trying to determine that. Would that be code feeding those to the assessor to say, these are the parcels that have a use change or a certificate of compliance or occupancy over the past year? These parcels should be reviewed.
Yeah,
And
there
that-
needs to be coordination.
Is that the simple approach?
It is, because it's in their records already, because every year there's an annual report submitted to the state on building permits issued, certificates of occupancy issued, and certificates of compliance issued. Now, whether or not that's done, Kevin, I understand what you're snickering about.
I'm sorry, I should not
And
have
that-
said
and
that.
that's, and that's fair.
I'm
But
sorry.
that information has to be generated in
correct.
the ordinance department to go to the assessor.
To the assessor. And then if she has additional questions or has other assignments to make,